Yes.
All right, we're live.
This is much better.
Welcome to the March 15th Lyman Planning Board Public Hearing.
You said 15.
Oh, March 5th. I should correct it. This hearing will come to order. The Lyman Planning Board is holding a public hearing to review the application for the Harbor Residential Subdivision, Tax Map 3, Lot 87-3, and a portion of Tax Map 3, Lot 87-2, Old Kennebunk Road, 9-lot residential subdivision. This is a public proceeding, and you have the right to hear everything that is being said and look at the exhibits that are offered. Please notify the board chair if you are having difficulty seeing or hearing the presentation. This hearing is being digitally recorded and broadcast on YouTube. All persons speaking will be asked to state their name and address or affiliation. All questions or comments will be directed through the board chair. It is required that you sign in the sign-in sheet to document your attendance at this hearing. Thank you in advance for your cooperation. Would you like to come up and make your presentation to the members present?
So just a quick rundown for any members of the public that weren't at the previous meetings. My name is Joe Martin of Sightlines here on behalf of the applicant. So the subdivision is an extension of two new subdivision roads off an existing discontinued road, which is Old Kennebunk Road. So we'll be extending two new subdivision roads. We'll be upgrading the gravel portion of the discontinued portion of Old Kennebunk Road, and then there'll be 8 new lots that are served off those new roads, and then one existing lot that currently fronts on Old Kennebunk Road. We have submitted to DEP for our stormwater permits. We have reached out to the York County Soil and Water Conservation District. We did get back a response letter. I don't know if they forwarded that to you yet or not. I do have some copies here. So we do have an approval letter from the York County. Actually, it's from the Cumberland County because they were the ones that did the review for the project. So with that, I mean, we can answer any questions that members of the public or yourself has.
Does any of the public have any questions, comments, concern? Yes, sir. Please stand up, approach, and state your name.
My name is Charles Bassett, 335 River Road in Arundel. I own one of the abutting parcels on Kennebunk Road that will be across Kennebunk Road from part of the subdivision, but it's beyond, I believe it's called Solis Road. Is that correct? Okay. And my concern is that I want to ensure that I and the other landowners further down Old Kennebunk, what was Old Kennebunk Road, have access. And I didn't see any affirmative statement in either the subdivision plan or the homeowners association agreement making it clear that we property owners do have that there is a public easement and we do have the right to travel on that road.
So you're further down heading toward the...
I can show you exactly where I am on the map if you'd like.
Yes, by all means. So you are the abutting property across the street from the proposed subdivision?
Yes. Okay. I'll get back to the mic, but my only concern is the deed included for that half of the road.
Okay. Joe, would you like to address that, or? Yeah, by all means, you're the expert on it. He's concerned about future access to his property and the other landowners further down the road. But yes, please, that way it's all duly noted and recorded.
So yes, so when the road was discontinued, when Old Kennebunk Road was discontinued, it was left with a public easement over that right-of-way area. So we can't nullify that. We can make it more clear in maybe the HOA docs that the public has the ability to access that portion of Old Kennebunk Road. So we're going to be improving. I'll just go to the plan real quick. Here. We're improving that section of Old Kennebunk Road, and we're tying back into the existing, substandard road that's there today. There'll be no gates, nothing like that would limit access. The HOA will be responsible for maintaining that portion of Old Kennebunk Road that they're upgrading. That'll be kind of the limit of their responsibility for Old Kennebunk Road. They're not responsible for any further maintenance further down the road. So when the road was discontinued as well, the adjacent property owners now own to the center of that right of way with an easement over it. The applicant did reach out to the abutting property owner, not Mr. Bassett, but I can't remember the gentleman's name, but
Plumber.
what's that?
Plumber.
And he obtained the rights for the other half of that right of way to be able to improve that entire roadway. So no restriction to access. We can definitely make that more clear in the HOA docs, and maybe the final plan application will state that clearly too as well.
Any further comments, sir?
In the application, there is a deed from the Thomas Plummer Revocable Trust to Eric Harper that is in the intent is to deed the half of the road that Mr. Plummer's trust owned. But there isn't a description of that in this deed. The way it reads is as if it's that side of the road all the way down to Hissong.
No, that wouldn't be. He couldn't deed over anything he doesn't know.
I understand that, but typically in a deed, you see meets and bounds.
Or from a point beginning at
So-
this to the conclusion portion thereof,
Right.
which I know we have a copy of that.
I can show, I have it right here if you want to see it. The deed. Do you want this?
I can actually bring it to York County Registry of Deeds and Heartbeat.
Do you want the book and page?
Just a second. Yeah, please. Thank you.
Okay. Book 19402, page 172.
Where it is. This is on my full computer. I just go over and click main registry of deeds.
I'm happy to let you.
Yeah, do we have extra copies for the rest of the board members? Of that, line underline, same. Beginning at the gate located approximately 0.7 of a mile westerly from Old North River Road, continuing 1.88 miles, more or less.
Yeah, a lot of that belongs to me.
Yes, please.
So I had that same question too when I first read this document. And as I was explained to by the attorney, all it does is release any ownership that Mr. Plummer has in that portion. Because that language that you see in there is taken directly, I believe, from the discontinue notice from the town. So all that Mr. Plummer is releasing is any right he has to any of that portion that was discontinued.
I see Mr. Bassett's concern. All right, title, interest in and to the real property in Lyman, York County, Maine, consisting of all that portion of the old Kennebunk Road and land underlying the same, having been determined to be presumed abandoned as set forth in the municipal law offices of the town of Lyman dated June 5th, 2023, recorded in York County Registry of Deeds, so on and so forth. Said portion of the road as bounded and described as follows. As one who reads deeds on a daily basis, this does. Reserving, however, to the grantor's trust and successors assignees a right-of-way for the benefit of the property of the grantor's trust as described in the deed recorded in York County Registry of Deeds, Book 16970, page 359, for the purpose of ingress, egress to and from said Old Kennebunk Road. The location of said right-of-way shall be determined by the grantor's trust in its sole discretion and may from time to time be relocated. The grantor's trust shall have the right to maintain and improve said right-of-way. I'm not a lawyer, but I'm also seeing that they give you the right-of-way, but they're also saying we can change it.
I believe that what that is saying is that he's able to relocate his driveway on that section of the right way. I don't have that document on me, but I mean, all I can say is it was prepared by an attorney, signed by both parties.
Yeah, and I've seen some scary deeds. I understand, I'm seeing your concerns. Yes, sir, please stand up, approach and announce your name.
My name is Tom Plummer, and I own across from him, going down and it borders up to Chips. And I think I just heard my name mentioned that I couldn't hear what they were saying.
This is the deed where you deeded your half of the old Kennebunk Road over, so that they could put it in the road for Harper subdivision.
Yes, I did.
Right.
And I had an attorney work it out and everything, so
Right. What it is appearing to happen, or it is being read, is that beginning at the gate located approximately 7/10 of a mile westerly from the old North Berwick Road, which there used to be a gate there, which is no longer, which is being removed. You are deeding 1.88 miles, more or less, in a westerly direction to the Alfred line.
but I only own like around
Right.
700 feet.
But this says they're given 1.88 miles.
Then the attorney goofed up on, I'm not an attorney, I'm not a legal person, and I went to an attorney to have him draw it up and do everything so everything would be right. And now you're telling me that it's wrong. And
Possibly.
it's from where I live, going down to where you want to put that road in there, was it maybe 700 feet, 800?
So I think the way Joe was kind of describing it, it's saying within that stretch of land, everything that you own, you deeded over to me.
Well, that's what I thought I
Yeah,
did.
that is what you did.
I tried to do what was right, and I had an attorney do it and tell me everything was right. But apparently I wasn't. I don't know.
Would it be worth, of course, I don't know if anyone's an attorney in this room, but I know I'm not one. Is it worth getting, I don't know which attorney you used, but reaching out to them and either having an explanation for them for if this meets the requirements for an appropriate deed, or if that deed needs to be modified?
From my personal experience, it looks like it was a Scrivener's error because they copied and pasted from a portion when the town abandoned that road, which was probably about 1.88 miles.
Yeah, and I don't know what it says. I mean, if they just added a line in there that said any ownership of that I have, or however you would word it, but there's a way to word it and use that description. But I don't know if they did that or not.
May I point something out?
Sure.
That it hadn't occurred to me. That description is starting at the other end. It's starting at the Hisong end.
It's not,
It's starting at the Hisong end,
yeah,
that description, which is an appropriate description of the entire road, but it's not an appropriate description of the portion
Of
that
the legal
Mr. Plummer
description,
owns
which-
and wants to deed. I don't have any issue with him deeding.
Yeah, we
To
just wanna
make that
sure-
perfectly clear, I don't have any issue with him deeding his half of the road to Mr. Harper. My concern, my concern is obvious, I think, is that the way it's written, it sounds like he's deeding 1.88 Elsip Road, which belongs to me and several other people.
Right. And again, go ahead.
But if the town said that it leaves public access, seems to me that you have public access.
We do, but however, when the town discontinued the road, the town used to own the roadway, okay? When you guys discontinued it in 2023, ownership reverted to us, the property owners, to the midline of the road. So Mr. Plummer only owns to the midline, only owned, use right tense, to the midline of the road along his property, but not along mine or Craig Pargalis or,
That's correct, but it's still, it's open for public access, right?
that is my concern is that public access is maintained affirmatively in the subdivision plan and the homeowners association agreement.
Normally, what I would see on the description, descript as follows: from a point beginning at the, a line of work. And this is so small I can't see it, but at that corner, that's conveying, generally in a westerly course of the road, the general direction of the road, and then go by the 3 points here, 218, 115, and 113 feet to a point where your property ends. So therefore, we're looking at 400 feet, 300 feet, 400 feet versus 1.88 miles. It's a clear delineation of that you are transferring what you actually own versus starting from a point and saying, well, this whole section of the road is transferred. I think it's a Scrivener error that the attorney just said, oh, this sounds good, and didn't clearly delineate the land being transferred.
Is the land being transferred or the right to maintain it being transferred?
The land is being, the portion that Mr. Plummer owns within the right of way is being
It's
transferred.
being transferred. But the town's abandonment of the road leaves public access
Yes.
in perpetuity.
So even though technically this will be a private subdivision road that'll be maintained by an HOA, it's going to be, still have public access.
That's right. So,
Yeah, yeah.
so for Mr. Barrett, it's not taking anything away from him.
No, I think, we can just get some clarity for, I think everyone can see the intent of what was transferred.
Yeah.
And, do you know who you used for an attorney?
Sorry,
Do you know who you used for an attorney?
it should be right on there. Lynn
Joseph
Kowski.
W.
Okay.
Lankowski.
Lankowski,
It was recommended to me.
he knows how to do that stuff.
I can reach out to him and see, because we can put together a meets and bounds description. Sometimes that's not required. Sometimes you just say, we release anything we own within this area. It's kind of a, I don't want to call it sloppy way, but it's a, Yeah.
Mm.
Right, the portion of the land, and then reference your right title of ownership, saying I'm releasing this portion, which was part of.
so,
I'm not an attorney. I went to the code enforcement officer in Alfred, and he recommended this attorney, Lankowski and Sanford, and said he was very good at doing legal stuff like that, and let him handle it.
Mhm.
So I gave it to him, and it was my understanding that I was gonna be selling to Max from the Alfred line, from
Yeah,
there.
from that line, your portion of the road 20 feet wide by 400 feet long.
Yeah, give or take a foot, yeah. But that's my understanding
Right.
was that's what it was gonna be. And he drew up the paperwork and said he had everything all set. and I didn't want any problem, and I wanted to transfer it over
Yeah.
to him.
This is just something, we're not trying to stop this, we're just trying to make sure that
So
2 years down the road,
And
some-
the attorney and
Yep.
get it straightened out?
Yep.
yeah, this is.
And either the attorney will say, hey, this is fine, here's my description of what it is, or he'll say, hey, I'll modify this, and maybe it's just in another deed that's a Scrivener error, or they just do a completely separate document that,
It's typically it's a correction,
Yeah.
you know, that saying instead of this, we're changing it to that.
And if you can keep Mr. Barrett in the loop so he knows what's going on?
That's it.
that's it. Yeah, I'll get your email or something after the meeting.
I mean, I don't want to hold up
Okay.
the project, but I don't want to create an issue for any of you guys down the road where someone buys a property down the road and there's a
Yeah.
title search,
That.
and I buy the property quarter mile down the road, and I find out that, wait a minute, because of this, someone who doesn't own the right title and deed has given away that 50 feet, 20 feet of roadway for 1.88 miles. That makes sense to everyone?
Hmm.
It's just,
So we can just make everything conditional? on
it'd be
getting them back?
conditional on the title search or revision, corrective deed, giving
Or explanation?
or explanation. It's, should be easy enough said and done. But that's it, I'm glad you brought that up, that's. I would have thought to look at. Do we have any other comments, points of interest, concerns, questions? Yes, sir.
You tell me that the attorney that I had draw this up made an error and didn't,
We're just looking for clarification, that's all.
oh, okay, because I'm trying to
Yeah.
sell that to you so you can get your
And I think,
thing in. I want the project to go ahead.
Oh, I agree.
And that's why I had the attorney do it, to get him the list.
A lot of times what happens is the attorney will have an assistant, and the assistant will go, okay, here's the abandonment of the road. This sounds good. They'll just copy and paste it in. Which is why, if you notice, this is just a deed. It's not a warranty deed. It's not a quick claim deed. So it indicates to me that there has not been a full title search done on it, which gets more expensive the more. So it was just a quick transfer. The attorney will most likely look at it and go, oh my goodness, makes sense. And take care of it. It's taking out one paragraph, putting in another. And we're not questioning ownership. We're not questioning your right title to transfer. It's just what is being transferred. Anything else? Sorry to be a stickler, but I don't want you guys to get into trouble later on. Board members have anything to comment?
I'm good.
All right, we'll close the public hearing. Closed at 5:54. Okay, welcome to the March 5th, 2025 meeting of the Lyman Board Planning Board. This meeting will come to order. This is a public proceeding, and unless the board specifically votes to go into executive session, you have the right to hear everything that is being said and to look at all the exhibits that are being offered. If the board votes to go into executive session, the reason shall be stated. Please notify the board chair if you are having difficulty seeing or hearing. This meeting is being digitally recorded and broadcast on YouTube. In all instances, the burden is upon the applicant to demonstrate compliance with the provisions of the applicable ordinance or ordinances. After the board votes on the merits of each project, it will prepare a written opinion which will be forwarded within 7 days. The board works from a prepared agenda and will be considering this meeting's items in the following order. Roll call, we already had the public hearing for Hopper Residential Subdivision, map 3, lot 87-3, and portion of tax map 3, lot 87-2, Old Kennebunk Road, 9 residential lots. On the regular meeting, we will have the, Hopper Residential Subdivision, what I just said before. There's a lot of talking in this. Number 2, Jen Salvos, 549 Clarkswood Road, map 5, lot 1, home daycare and existing converted garage. Review notes from the site walk as of February 22nd, 2025. Review mission statement, bylaws, administrative policy. Set the agenda for the next meeting on March 19th, 2025. CEO update, reading of the minutes, old business, any updates on Carlisle Brooks Estate, map 4, lot 2020, lot 22. Preliminary subdivision application, Bunganut Parks Committee public hearing will be held on Wednesday, March 19th, 2025. I invite you to join me in saluting the flag of our country. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Evening. All right, let's get into Harbor Residential Subdivision. I think we have,
Mr. Chair, roll call.
oh, roll call. Yes, please. Thank you.
Tim Rivard, Poor Farm Road.
Bill Single 8, Single 8.
Kelly Demers, 10 Partridge Way.
Cecile Dupuy, 53 Chapel Shores Road.
Kevin Ver, 64 Bugging Pond Road.
We have full board member here present and voting. Wonderful. Thank you for reminding me of that. Okay, now back to Harper. I think we have said everything we need to say. The only concern I personally have is the legality or the extent of the transfer of the Plummer property, and which should be easily taken care of. And if we do approve the application, it would be a subject to a review of the legal description. That amendable, agreeable?
Were there other issues that we?
Well, that's what we're going to get into. Anyone have any other concerns? We did get the letter from the York County Soil. I remember seeing that, and I thought I had it in my packet readily available. I stapled stuff together and forget about it.
I do have copies.
And you would express two concerns. 7.1.1 requires DEP approval. 8.4.3, checklist not in correlation to the sections of the ordinance. Okay. I did not have a chance to get that before I got here.
Yeah, so the DEP question, some towns do it differently. Some towns will let you get the approval, but it's conditioned on receiving the permit.
Mhm.
Some will let you go through the whole process, but they won't sign the subdivision plan until they have the stormwater permit or the DEP permit in place. And then some won't even let you get to the final plan stage until you have the stormwater permit, which is, I think, is a little bit putting the cart before the horse, because if you have revisions based on your final plan, we need to incorporate that in the DEP permit.
And your question on 843 through 845, one of them was dead end street shall not exceed 1,600 feet in length. My assumption is that this standard is no longer valid since it is not included within the ordinance and is simply a leftover provision, previous revision of the ordinance. So,
Yeah, one of the things when you go through that checklist, it tracks with the different sections of the ordinance, and then right around where I mentioned, it stops tracking with it.
one of the things we need to do is kind of go through and make sure A is A and B is B and not 1 is 7.
I did go through, I did find email with documentation from the, I think the 2020, I think it was 2020, where we were, I think this had already been approved, the street design, and we were removing references to street design in the other ordinances. And I saw where we did not remove, that I could see anyway, but that wasn't the final copy. Dead end streets shall not exceed 1,600 feet in length. That stayed in the subdivision standards, but the remainder of the paragraph went away, where it gave more description on how the road would be designed. So I don't know why that didn't go in the street ordinance.
Mm.
Because it's not in here, right, about the dead end.
I couldn't find it.
Couldn't find anything in there.
Are we the regular ordinance or the street design?
It was in,
subdivision?
it was in an old, in the old version of the subdivisions. We used to describe, the street design was described inside the ordinance. So we had inconsistencies because we
Yeah,
had some in
it's-
the regular ordinance, some in the subdivision standard, so,
They're living, breathing documents.
all right.
Because when I'm looking at 8.4.4.11, where'd it go?
It's not even,
It's not even there.
it's not even there. So,
Yeah, because the last thing we have on 8 is planting. So I believe that is. I'm looking in street acceptance and designs.
I think what was removed from here was the design of the hammerhead. And so that's addressed in the street ordinance. So that was removed from the subdivision.
We did away with
Oh,
cul-de-sac in favor of hammerheads
Right, yes, I think that
at
was,
the request of
And-
the police chief and the road commissioner.
right. And it was removed, that, the statement about the cul-de-sac and the hammerhead were removed and put into the street. And a reference to the street standards was put in. But I
believe
because of the.
As it has been removed
It's been removed, yeah.
the main ordinance, it just needs to be taken out of the checklist that we work off of.
So,
Makes sense.
so where was this found, in the street ordinance? No.
Because street
Well,
ordinance,
numbering wise, it falls under the zoning ordinance.
Right.
Is it the zoning
But it only
ordinance
goes
that
to
says that?
8.3.13 and then it goes to 9.
in, yes. Yeah, 8.3.113 violation of penalties.
Then it goes to 9.
So, as it has been removed, it is no longer relevant and no longer applicable. All in agreement? I don't even think we need to make a vote on it because it doesn't exist anymore. Good catch.
And then some of the other ones, like they're still there in the ordinance, but the numbering system doesn't match up with the checklist, which is,
The checklist.
that happens all the time. I mean,
We keep trying.
yep,
Yeah.
no, it's,
Right.
So, do we want to go step with the subdivision regulation checklist? There's a lot.
I have a question mark. We must have looked at this because I have a question mark on that exact.
Which one is that?
In the checklist, subdivision regulations
Yep.
checklist, number 8.4.4.1, 11.
Yep.
See, it's still in the checklist,
Right, so that'd be a non-applicable.
yeah. Definitely.
After reading this, I'm not even here tonight. So,
And then 8.4.3 through 8.4.5 on the checklist are not. So we should probably use this instead of this as we vote. Rather, right?
if it's not applicable, we can just quickly, not applicable.
Right.
We already stated that the original application was complete and to move on to the subdivision regulations.
The preliminary plan was completed, and we voted on that. And now
Right.
the final plan. We need to vote
Right.
on, yeah?
Yeah, my notes say that we had the subdivision preliminary plan on the scales and topography and all that.
Do we have all of these to go
Yes, sir.
Is it possible for me to request that the board include something about the homeowners association and recognizing the public easement?
Yeah, that was going to be my recommendation, is a general note on the subdivision plan that gets recorded stating that there is a public easement through that section of Old Kennebunk Road that needs to be maintained for the butters' use.
Well, one of the things that was at the sidewalk is, of course, the gates removed and they're extending the road down to town standards, down to the end of the road, that the plowing and maintenance was not going to interfere with public access. Or, I won't say public access, but owner access down the private road. Because of the abandonment, it's kind of hard for the municipality to give public access of property that they've abandoned.
It's still public access though.
If-
The select board left public easement over that right away. Abandonment.
But the property has been handed over to the owners on each side.
But there's still a public easement. In that stretch.
I haven't read it, so I don't know. Generally, you can't. Yes.
Yeah, I'll just say, yeah, it's correct. Technically, so when, I'm not an expert on town abandonment, but when you abandon a public road, you can either abandon it without a public easement or with a public easement. When the town voted on this, they abandoned it with a public easement.
It
So-
was.
Yep.
and it's-
So technically, anyone
Yeah,
in the
You can walk
public,
up and down the property, no one
Want
can
to?
be across it.
Yep.
Great, I like that. Because I know a lot of people use ATVs and personal craft to use that. When we were there at the site walk, there was evidence of people using that to walk your pets and everything, so it can't be shut off from use. Okay? So
yeah, I'd just like to see,
guaranteed public access,
just a general note stating that. There's a,
a Milton Homeowners Association stating that,
yeah,
in
it can't,
perpetuity.
they can't be blocked for access.
Yep.
Neighbors and-
That's a good one.
And I believe that HOA is supposed to be submitted to us to before final approval. One here.
I don't know.
I believe an HOA, at least a preliminary HOA has to be
Yeah,
submitted.
'cause
Mhm.
I've seen some.
Because I think that has to go with the, you can't register it without that. Register the subdivision.
It really has to be.
If it's a
The
small
HOA
shoulder,
goes
fine.
with, goes with the plan.
I don't
Doesn't
want,
it have to go with the town lawyer to be reviewed before final?
I think you're right with that, yeah.
subdivision. Because yeah, I've seen some very long HOA agreements.
Let's check these.
Yes. Page 30. Subdivision.
10 point. Okay. 8.11. I see this is totally numbered wrong.
Homeowners Association. A home organization comprised of all owners of the home in a development subdivision designated as a homeowners association shall be responsible for the maintenance of all open spaces and other common facilities in development/subdivision. A homeowners association must be formed, and the bylaws of the homeowners association must specify maintenance and responsibilities for the development and open space, if any. The bylaws must be reviewed by the planning board and the town attorney, and any necessary changes made prior to the planning board's approval of the development plan. All owners of lots within a development shall be required to be members of the homeowners association. Each lot deed in a development shall include a covenant setting forth the requirements of membership in the association together with the rights and interest in the open space and common facilities. The covenant shall be reviewed and approved by the planning board and the town attorney. There shall be a note included in the subdivision plan setting forth the requirements of the membership of the homeowners association. The homeowners association shall be responsible for maintaining any open space and any other common facilities, including sanitary water system, water storage, and distribution system, and underground storage facilities for fire protection. The developer shall be a member of the homeowners association and responsible for each unsold unit in the cluster development. Okay, that cluster is a little bit different than just a regular association. The developer's membership in the association may be terminated once all the lots are sold by sending a written notice to the Lyman Planning Board and Association stating that all lots are sold, along with the dates of the last sale, the names of the new owners. The homeowners association must levy fees against all property owners to defray the expenses connected with the maintenance of the undeveloped land and the common and recreational facilities and easements. So we require the developer to be a member until all of it's done, not just 2/3. Interesting. So, yes, sir.
So in the packet we provided, the very last 2 pages of section E, or attachment E, there is a 2-page declaration of covenants and restrictions for the HOA. We can definitely send that separately and have that reviewed by the town attorney.
Yes, 2 pages is nice, short, sweet, succinct, and to the point.
I quickly read through it. And I didn't see anything specific there about the developer being part of the HOA, but that's certainly something that could be added.
Yeah. So that's conditions that we review in the attorney. Okay. Good catch, Cecile. I think we're gonna nominate you for the subdivision group.
Oh, please, no.
Another cough drop.
So, let's do-
Do we want to go through the final plan and then check, make notations if we see anything that needs to be added, revised, modified, or deleted? Or deleted such as that?
Have the final plans been submitted?
We don't have fun.
Yeah, we need a final. Right, this is a preliminary that we have. So, but other than that, is anything else, nothing else has
Nothing
been
came up
changed on the final plan? I mean, on that plan? That we know of, right?
I'd say it's kind of shrunk a little bit, but everything carried over from the first one in 2024. Yeah, that's not 2024. 2023, yes.
I was just going to say, yeah, I was expecting to kind of turn this around, maybe update the letter a little bit with some additional information that we've talked about, and then just submit final. I don't know when realistically the next meeting would be on. Would we be able to reach the March 19th meeting, or would you have to go to the first April meeting?
We can do the March 19th meeting.
There you go.
If I got you
Public hearing.
plans by like the end of the week.
We just had a public hearing.
Public hearing is all done, so
Yeah. The next, I would have to have everything by Wednesday, Thursday next week.
Okay, I should be able to get you by the end of this week, I think. It's not, I mean, it's, most of it's there and not a lot's changed. The only thing, we could try to get the HOA revised by then, potentially, and we can see what we can find out about the deed for the right-of-way transfer too.
And then go through the other remaining, if there's anything that you see on this whole 7.1 all the way to 10 point that you don't think is applicable, just make a note of it and say waiver.
Okay.
I know some of the things,
And then,
Why not?
I don't think we ever answered the question about the DEP permit. I don't know how you guys have traditionally done that in the past. If it's the final plan is just conditioned or,
I think it's a reasonable request. And just make it contingent that we get it.
Would that affect the design, no, of your site plan? If the DEP comes back with,
it shouldn't. I've received some preliminary comments from DEP. They're fairly minor. I was kind of waiting on this meeting tonight before I responded to them.
Yeah.
But I don't see anything major. Yes, if something major changed based on the DEP, we'd have to come back to you. But if we can get all that done before we come before here for final, then we
right?
should be all
I
set.
mean, we just wouldn't want to sign your design, your plan.
I think it would make
until
sense
everything's
too.
set, because you'd have to revise it.
Is if you don't sign the plan until the DEP permit's received. That happens in a lot of towns, especially with subdivisions, is the plan is not signed. Because once you sign the plan,
Final,
yeah,
right?
amending it is kind of a pain in the butt at that point. So, yeah, I mean, I think we'd be satisfied with just being able to go through the final plan process, but the plans can't be signed until that permit's received.
yeah, you'd be subject to DEP approval.
Yep.
Go through
I think that would be-
it. Let's go.
You want to go through all this? Because we haven't got the final plan yet.
No, then there's no need, we can't do this until we have the final plan.
So go to the next section, we got parts of it we can do.
Well, the preliminary application, we've checked everything off, everything's been brought up. We have a question regarding the wording or the accuracy of the deed transfer of the,
So what you were saying is preliminary is okay, except for that one thing.
Yep.
So I make a motion that we approve that part.
we have a motion.
Approve the part of which,
It's a complete application.
The application is complete with the exception of confirmation of a clear right title and deed.
Correct.
I'll second that motion.
Okay.
Do we have any discussion on it? Rebecca, was that, no? Okay. One more discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
So that's the only thing that we could beat out of it is clarification of right title and deed.
See you back here in a couple of weeks, hopefully.
I hope so.
Just one note that our next meeting, we do have a public hearing to start the meeting for the Butternut Parks. So you would have to follow that.
That'd be long.
Kevin, will that be long?
We haven't had much public input so far, so
Hopefully not.
You don't know.
I know, it's, yeah.
Max, did
Once
you
it's-
sign the sign-in sheet when you came in?
It could blow up or it could be crickets.
You do, you gotta have perfect attendance.
I can vouch for him. I saw him sign it.
Okay, just checking.
Thank you both for your concerns and input. We love having input.
Well, like I said, I tried to do right.
Understand.
You
I,
did right.
but
Okay.
Okay.
and it's a simple matter to fix. It's really simple, you know? And if I hadn't had it in front of me and caught it, I wouldn't have known any better. Sorry.
Should I go back to the attorney and ask to describe?
Okay, I think you.
I'll leave it alone.
Yeah.
Thank you
Thank
for
you.
being kind to me.
Oh,
No
This is all new.
Oh, no.
Thanks for coming.
Just
Hope we don't have that reputation of being unkind.
Hey, if you want to learn more, we have alternate space available to join.
Join us.
Um, Thank you for your kindness.
Oh, no problem. That's what we're here for.
I'm doing good, but I don't.
That was an interesting catch. I'm surprised I caught that.
Mr. Chair,
Yes.
our next person, Jenna, she is at home with the children. Her husband is stuck in traffic. Becca's gonna call her. She is gonna be on speakerphone with you.
Okay.
To go over the sidewalk. Unfortunately, we couldn't set up a Zoom link to have her Zoom in, but this is the best we could do for her.
Works, right?
Yep, it's gonna work.
Good.
We try to accommodate,
That's right.
and this is.
Tell me when to call her.
Go for it.
Hi, Jenna, it's Becca. You ready to be on speaker? Okay. Do you want to hear or at your desk?
There at the speaker. at the
Here or at your desk?
Can you hear us, Jenna?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Perfectly.
Yes.
Wonderful. Okay, do you want to give, for the masses listening to us and watching us, a brief rundown of your proposed plan?
So basically I am going to be trying to open an in-home daycare in our converted garage basement. It will be a smaller 12-child occupancy daycare that will be just 1 or 2 staff.
Okay. Does the board want to go over their sidewalk review?
I got their link, so you guys have more detail than I know.
The only question I had, again, like I said earlier, is that enough parking space for, if it's 12, going to be 12 children, should be enough space for 12 cars. That would be the worst case scenario so that they can safely get in and out. And that would, I would assume would be at the end of the driveway by the road, and they could walk the children in. That was my only concern at all. Other than that, I think it was fine.
Was it concerned that there was not enough space?
Yes, because we couldn't really see because of the snow.
Yeah.
And you know, I've been thinking about it, and it's like, the worst case is if you have 12 children from 12 different families, you could have 12 cars there at the same time. That would be your worst case. So you want it to be safe.
Right,
Especially in inclement weather,
right.
you don't want them standing and waiting as a car comes up, picks them up,
Right.
goes down.
Right, and I saw that, because there was snow there, didn't look like it was wide enough that you could have cars go in both directions, like pick up and then turn, and there's no turnaround there.
I think from what I saw, and again, it was snow covered, but both sides have space if it was leveled out,
Okay,
that you could put a fair number of cars and make it work fairly
make it work so
easy.
they could turn around and come out, so you'd have traffic
Right,
moving.
right.
Okay.
Yeah, because you don't want people having to stop on the road, letting the kids out,
Mhm.
trying to get them in safely. You know, you want it off the main road. But other than that, I think it looked like there was room. It just needed to be graded.
Yeah, and at the top where like the house actually is, there's actually a lot more space. We just didn't bother clearing it out with the snow this year just because we didn't need to. But like behind the house, you could probably fit 2 or 3 cars before you get to like the little buildings. And then to the left of the house, like when you come up to the left, there, that's where we're gonna ideally put, like, you probably fit like 4 cars over there too. It's just with the snow, obviously, it looks a lot smaller than it is.
So if you took and drew a traffic flow, how would the cars come in and out discharging people safely? That was what I was looking for. So if they parked at the end of the road, end of the driveway, they could walk the children in, but then you wouldn't want cars driving up and down the driveway while they're walking through there. That was my thought process.
Yeah, we have a small, so like where the cars were parked against the house, we have like, we could probably fit like 4 cars there. But yeah, so we're basically trying to keep the main driveway clear so that people can go up and down and not have to have people walk up and down because it's a pretty long driveway. So like who really wants to do that? So basically we're just gonna try to clear as much of the space behind the house and like along the, like we have a rock wall that's like on the perimeter of our property. So basically along that rock wall to the left behind the house is gonna be like the main part of you will pull straight in and then can back out or back down the driveway or turn around or whatever, depending on if there's cars there or not.
But you can only fit 4 or 5 cars there, and you
Well,
could,
that's,
and you
oops,
could
sorry.
essentially have 12.
Right, so we're gonna have, well, there's 4 or 5 on the west side, which is like along the rock wall to like the left of the house, and then behind the house we can fit a couple, and then along the house we can fit a couple.
So you would have between the side of the house, the back of the house, and the end of the driveway, enough for 12 cars to park.
We did have, so we had a birthday party a couple weekends ago, and we kind of tested our theory on like having to like have a bunch of cars here for that. And we only had one person had to move for everybody to be able to get out without having to have like a traffic jam in the driveway. So it worked out pretty well.
Do you want to see a sketch bill showing?
Yeah,
I
that
just,
would be a good idea.
I just concerned when she says that they can back out the
Yeah.
driveway, and it's like, I wouldn't want anybody backing out the
No.
driveway.
Right.
Not if you've got little kids and parents walking up the driveway.
No,
You know,
I understand
so-
what you're saying.
So, you just want to make it so it's safe in the traverse
Right,
for
and
kids to walk.
there's 2 turnarounds. There's a turnaround when you first come to our driveway that goes to the left. That is a pocket there, and then when you're going up our driveway, right before the playground, there's also like a little spot there that goes down to the back of our property. So there's also spots down there too, if need be.
I think Tim had a good idea, but
Hmm.
if
We lost
her.
our phone.
John could
It
give
hung
us a
up.
traffic flow.
I,
With
with the
diagram,
intent,
I
Do
think
you,
would
do
be
you
a good
limit your
idea.
conversations?
No, she's here still.
There is.
Oh, she's coming back. There we go.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Okay.
Was one of the things I was thinking, I do cute little stupid diagram, is I noticed on, even with the snow, when you come in on the immediate right, there's, looks like a spot in plus aerial photographs. A possibility kind of like having a turnout where 3, 4, 5 cars could fit. And then you have, so they would pull in, go up, drop the kids off, turn around, come down, the next car, come up, drop the kid off, turn around.
Okay, so just kind of like make it kind of like a, what's the word I'm looking for? Kind of just like a one person at a time in and out.
Well, you'd have a couple spaces on the bottom, you
Right.
know, 3, 4, 5 cars. When we were up there, there was space for 4 cars up against the building.
Mhm.
So it's kind of expand that so that you don't have to make a massive parking space at the top. But
Right.
you'd have space for not people blocking the road trying to pull into your driveway. And then you notify your clients that, listen, you come in, drop your kid off, but if someone's ahead of you, you pull into the turnoff.
Okay, yep.
If you look at it from a topographical view, from the top down, what you want to track is your flow of traffic coming in and going out, and people walking in there and out of there. How would it be the safest? So anybody backing up becomes a danger when you have people walking.
Especially kids.
Okay, so how do you make it so it's safe to drive in, drop off, and turn and come out without backing up as safe as possible? The driveway is really not wide enough for 2 cars side by side. So you need to be careful. So either parking at the end of the driveway by the street on both sides of the driveway, so you can park a fair number of cars there, they could walk up, and then you would have no traffic driving back and forth. To me, that would be the safest, but if you want traffic to drive up to the house, how do you make it safe? Just kind of draw it out, figure out what it looks like to you and how safe you feel it would be, and get something back to us like that so we can look at it too.
Yeah, that would be a safety concern of mine.
Okay.
Right.
And, you can play around with a couple of vehicles trying to get in and out simultaneously within, 2 to 3 minutes, 5 minutes.
Right.
I mean, it is a daycare and not school, so it's not, it would be very rare that you'd have all 12 of your
That's right.
children coming in at the same time. The drop off and the pickup would be staggered, but I guess you always have to allow for that possibility of
Worst case
congestion.
scenario.
Well, that's why I said 12 cars, 12
Yeah.
kids.
Right,
How do you fit them in safely in and out without having to worry about someone getting run over?
right.
Especially middle of winter, snowstorm,
Mhm.
traffic coming up and down the road.
Just do like the schools do. It might snow, cancel.
Sure.
I know.
The town I grew up in, my father was a road commissioner. He plowed and the bus followed.
Oh, is that right? So do you kind of understand what I'm looking for?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not trying to be difficult with it, but the more cars you can put parked at the end of your driveway on both sides, the safer it's going to be for people walking.
Right.
Just give it some thought.
Okay.
All right. Do you have any questions for us?
I don't think so.
Does the board have any questions?
No other observations that we.
No, it was,
Yeah.
looked
You
easy,
just that parking.
which we're talking daycare, toddlers, young. I'm not talking grade school, I'm not talking high school.
Right.
Possibly, parents walking their, dropping, parking, shutting off the car and walking the kids, so that's gonna take extra time. And then someone gets impatient coming down the road, we don't want anyone to get hurt.
I'm good.
I'm good.
Yep, I'm good.
All right. We'll put you,
The public hearing next meeting, right?
Yep.
No.
No.
It would have to be the meeting after, the first in April.
Oh, I thought we had already said, we didn't say that.
No.
Okay.
Funganut's the
That was a
next.
fun, that's the next one.
You guys are killing me here.
Sorry.
so the April 2nd will be a public hearing for you, and then have all that traffic flow pattern, hopefully drawn to scale, which would be great, so that if the public has any questions, you can go, here it is, this is my proposal, and we can take it from there.
Okay.
All right? Thank you very much. Have a wonderful evening.
Thank you too.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Do you,
That works.
Hey, we improvised.
you have all the butter information, the butter information? for the public
Yeah, I
hearing?
think you had that the first meeting.
Yeah.
Right.
She had
Yeah,
Got it.
perfect.
I got it.
Beautiful.
All right, wonderful.
You're killing me, people. You're killing me.
Telling you.
We're trying to keep our ducks on the road.
All
I don't have ducks in me. I'm not even gonna
Should.
talk.
Chickens,
Yeah.
chicken eggs are expensive, ducks are good.
Careful, I saw a news article in Wells or Gunquit where they had dozen or so ducks washed up on the beach from, they suspecting avian flu or something.
Oh, I saw that too.
I was like, oh, here we go. All right, review mission statement.
So we made some edits, I think, the last meeting. and
Yep.
Try to put them in there, right?
I think the mission statement stayed the same, didn't it?
Yeah, it's the,
Except for I have
Yeah.
one
Right, it's the
revision
bylaws
correction.
that have
Oh.
those changes.
Keep your correction to yourself.
Well, this one kind of, there's only one eminent statement.
What? State amendment.
No M&Ms?
State amendment.
Statement.
Statement.
Yeah, that's right, I didn't see that.
I didn't do it.
So,
Okay.
We can fix it.
I'll make the motion that we adopt the Lyman Planning Board mission statement for 2025 as amended.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Mission statement is approved. Okay, mission statement. Bylaws. Come on, where is it? On the Lyman Planning Board bylaws, March 2025, I had one change, suggestion. This is last page, page 11, attachment 5, second paragraph. It says, this is fourth line down. All planning board meetings will be accessible by Zoom or other remote. I propose putting the word platforms plural versus platform singular, as we actually did today.
On other remote platforms.
Yeah, platforms plural versus platform singular. This allows us to send
Or
smoke
other remote
signals or
platform.
strings in the paper cups.
Actually, I'm not sure if you want to change that. All planning board meetings will be accessible by Zoom or other remote platform. So other can apply to,
That
Not
doesn't have to be a
anyone.
plural because
Right. Be
or
any-
other platform.
right. You wouldn't
Is
use
plural
more than
in
one at
itself.
one time.
Other platform would denote that we were specifically stating another platform.
I disagree with that. Other platform
I
is
think
not
it's be fine the
specific,
way it
it's
is.
wide open.
I know it is.
This is what my spell grammar check caught. We don't have to, it's a suggestion.
It worked tonight,
Remote platforms.
right?
I mean,
Yeah.
Yeah, so it works.
if that's if that's gonna hold up approving it, if that's the only thing. I
It was
think-
one that came to my attention and I'm like,
Yeah.
to me, it made sense, but I hear the other side of it being a plural.
Like I said, it worked tonight, I'm all for it the way it is.
All right,
I agree with Bill.
okay, then we'll keep, skip it and leave it as is. So I'll make a motion that we adopt the Town of Lyman Planning Board bylaws from March 2025 as presented. All in favor?
I'll second that.
A second, any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Bylaws approved. I signed. I don't have to sign these.
No, there's a letter. You should have a letter.
What's this?
Somewhere.
Yes. This one here, that's what one you're gonna sign.
Okay. Revised planning board bylaws, yes.
With your name at the bottom, that you sign, and we send all those off to the select board and the town manager. Post on the website.
All right, and we don't need to sign the mission statement.
Yep.
So that's good.
And then we have the administrative policy, which is basically just an us in-house kind of situation.
And I actually read that. Yeah, kind of hate me. Under the administrative policy, March 5th, 2025, notice of planning board events documents, amendment process. Okay. Number 4,
We don't allow changes.
is that,
Nothing,
we don't allow me to do it?
but
Make amendments, changes, or suggestions?
you're charged.
I don't
Me.
Number 4, item I, the planning board must notify the CO versus notified CO. Proper noun, CEO.
Where are you?
On number II,
I.
second one down, and it's also gonna be third one down. Notify the CEO versus notify CEO.
That's nitpicky.
I like picking nits, you always say, here's for your nits and picks. I wouldn't be doing my job if I didn't nit and pick. Again, this is grammatical. So
Okay, Don.
I was taught by one of the best.
Uh,
Then on number 3, note that the town versus the town. Note that the town versus note the
Where,
town.
where are you?
First page.
First
Number
page.
4, notices of public hearings.
Yeah.
Last line of triple I.
That's the second page. Note that the town attorney has recommended.
Right.
Okay.
Again, we're talking about proper first, proper.
Yep.
The nuns are also, they had those big rulers. All right, so that's those 2. And I think that was it.
Mhm.
So those are my suggestions. Does the board agree, reject?
Well, that was just a checklist, oh,
It's mostly a, John did this up as a
like a help document, right?
kind of a
Yes.
help document, checklist, chart to follow, as where a lot of it was for me, you know, when to post things,
Kind of like a flow chart.
yeah.
Yes. Good for procedures and everything.
Yep. He popped in just the other day, and I showed him, I said, thank you for this. He rolled his eyes.
And you did tell them that we did not talk or communicate because we didn't want to incur the wrath of Dawn.
That's right. That's right.
All right.
I don't think, we don't have to
This
vote
is just
on it.
grammatical, so
We're
accept
good.
it as revised. Okay, that's that one. And that's the administrative policy. Anything else? Set the agenda for the next meeting.
We're gonna accept the minutes.
That comes way down here.
Oh, excuse me.
He didn't get an
It's
agenda.
because she didn't give me the agenda.
I think he did.
I think you did, Joe.
Kevin said it came.
I'm sorry.
Agendaless. Thought it did.
So
Oh,
we
I'm
have
sorry.
Harvard.
We're gonna have the public hearing for Bungana.
This is for,
I bring my life jacket.
so we got public hearing, Bungana.
Yep.
I kind of get a feeling that we're gonna have a respectable public in attendance,
You think so?
at least 3 people. I'm sorry.
Don't overstate.
We're not gonna have need overflow, we're not gonna have to rent the school. But, I mean, the pond is a topic near and dear to a lot of the residents of this town. And I'm sure they're gonna have a couple of questions as I read their comments, you know, and watched the town meeting that they had, so. And it's all gonna be good, it's all gonna be great. So after the public hearing, we're gonna put them on the agenda right after. So it's gonna be Bunganut and Bunganut. we're pushing Harper off to what, the 19th, 15th?
No, they were going to be after this, right?
They're gonna be on after that.
On- On the 19th. On the 19th.
I thought we pushed them to the 2nd.
No, it was. So,
If he's gonna get me some
If he's got it, let's
stuff
keep
by
them
next
flowing.
Wednesday,
let's not slow them down at all. Um,
so he should be back with some final stuff for the next meeting.
Hopefully the DEP stuff or the,
or was it
the
Miss,
deed.
Jenna was in April.
I was gonna say Miss Alvis was, on,
So she'll be,
okay,
she won't be here next week.
so it'll be Bunga, Harper.
And, potentially Patrick.
Oh, Patrick Atkins.
I haven't heard that from him to tell me he will be at the meeting.
So is that,
He was. what was it?
He's the car inspection.
That's right.
okay, so
I don't see why he wouldn't be on the agenda for next week. We'll reach out.
an automotive inspection station like the one, what was it, Brock Road we did?
No.
No, it's Clark's Woods Road.
Clarkswood. Yeah. Okay. CEO, do we have any updates, comments? Good.
No.
Anything, difficulties with docs and all that? or-
No, the only thing that's left with docs from you guys is to let me know, how you want me to handle, docs that were in before the shoreland zone was adopted. Because that's what most of the permanent ones are.
Mhm.
And, I'm inclined to just see those as grandfathered, as long as they provide proof that they were in.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, if they're grandfathered, we really can't say you have to remove them unless they are in a place where it would do irreparable environmental damage.
Which would probably be most of them, if you're gonna have them removed, but yeah.
What was the date you said before a certain date?
93?
I think it's 93, isn't it June 4th, 93, I think was when the shoreline zone was adopted.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Seems like forever.
That's
Oh, my gosh.
my inclination, but I just had to make sure you guys were okay with that.
And if they are
Actually,
doing repair or
2005.
replacement, they're coming to you for
2005.
approval?
Well, that's what I was confused about, is 93 and 2005.
I think 93 might have been the state version. I think, but the town didn't, 2005 is the earliest. But I believe before it was the DEP only, it wasn't the
I
town.
don't know, I remember in the late 80s, Acton on Moulson Lake made someone tear them up because they were improperly put in, along with reconstructing the shoreline from the illegal.
But when we built in 86, 87, and there was no town. In fact, we had got some notice from the DEP, and we said, well, gee, the town never, never said anything, we got building permits and all of that, and the answer was, well, the town doesn't have an ordinance, so you're under the, so I think
You're right.
the ordinance didn't come into place until 2005. Before that, though, you were still under the rules of the state, of the DEP, rules.
So I guess you guys would have to decide, because it is under your purview, whether or not you want me to draw the line at 93 or at 2005 for grandfathering.
So what
Well, I
are you
think you'd have
using
to
for
go before.
documentation that was done?
A lot of times it's just photos. It's
Yeah.
photos with the dates on them.
Right.
There's not a lot out there, but a lot of people have photos of, look at grandma on top.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Um, It's up to you, and again, you don't have to decide today, it's just something
Right.
soon.
Well, to
Um,
me,
so-
grandfathering is grandfathering. I mean,
Hmm.
whenever as long as it's before 2005.
I agree.
And when did the state regulate docks? I think that's fairly new. The state ruling on docks, because that didn't come to us before, was 20, Patty brought that before us. That's when we added
Well,
docks to the shoreline zoning here. Before, there was no, we weren't regulating them, and I don't think the state was either.
what Patty wanted to do was regulate the size or design of them, so that we didn't have alphabet soup jutting out into one of the bodies of water, where someone starts off with an F dock and then puts an H on the end of it and goes with an I and a T. We wanted to have specific that it's from one point of land out, and you could have either an F or a T.
Yeah, that was
It was,
a local ordinance thing.
Right.
It was a design
we were talking
standard.
about. But as far as the regulation of the maximum width of 6 feet, I think that came down from the state.
It did, yeah.
Yeah,
But I'll tell you what would be, to me, is more important. I would rather see something that says, if your dock extends out beyond the normal control of your shoreline, you gotta have something to market for nighttime. You know, because people have these docks that stick way out and there's nothing.
Yeah, that's good.
And you can't blame the homeowner because their water goes up, you know,
Right, they have to go
knee deep,
deeper.
200 feet.
Yeah,
Yeah.
But if that's gonna be the ordinance, you'd have to get the ordinance. changed.
Right,
right.
right.
So, and I
That's right.
can't do that for a little while, but that would be a good one.
But
That would be a good one.
But for one person, a straight out dock is fine, and another person might say, well, I want a canopy, I need a U-shaped dock, and who's to say who's right? Especially if it doesn't interfere with anybody else.
Right.
I think you're safer if you say before 2005, your grandfather.
Okay,
That's my opinion.
what's the board though, as a consensus? Cause I'll run with whatever you want me to run with,
I agree.
okay?
The 2005.
Grandfather,
2005.
but
Before 2005.
before 2005.
I'd like to get some legal support for a decision in case someone comes back and challenges it.
Okay.
You know, run it past the select board and say, hey, we don't want to arbitrarily pick a date. Yes, we have the ordinance, but let's
And that should be in the ordinance if we're going to do
let's
that.
say the
What?
DEP.
Because the ordinance
When
does.
zoning was first instituted, everything before that was just grandfather. And there
Yeah,
was no ifs, ands, or buts.
Right.
Why change that philosophy?
you were ruled by whatever the state had. If you
Right.
didn't have a local ordinance, then you had to abide by what the state
Right,
had.
and what the state had was very
Right.
lax.
And I think in the state in 1993, I think,
That's
some
what I
reason,
thought. Yeah,
that's when the state had the shoreland ordinance. I don't think it addressed docks. I don't think docks were in that. So whenever docks came about,
So it wouldn't really make a difference if we picked 93 or
I
2005.
don't think it would.
So pick 2005, that makes you safer, less grief,
Right.
and go with it from there. Because you're just gonna try to make something good out of a mess.
That's-
You
And
know?
it actually is working well
Good.
so far.
Good.
So it's a very positive feedback. So is that what we're going with then, 2005? As people are calling.
So I don't understand, what you're saying is that if your dock was installed in 2005 or later,
Earlier,
Earlier.
earlier
Prior
your
to-
grandfather.
yes.
But if you put a dock in 2005 and you don't have a permit, then you have to comply with the,
What I've been doing for temporary docks, only because I had to find a way to make it fair for everybody, but also not overload my office with way more work than we could do, is, if it fall, for me with the temporary docks, they fill out the application, I have a box that says existing dock, and basically I'm permitting your existing dock. I give them a list of what it should look like, and then they get a permit. If they're out of compliance,
then their file gets tagged with there's an illegal dock on this property. That's as far as my office can go, with the amount of manpower that we have. So if you wanted to follow that same for docks that are in after 2005, basically put them through the permitting process, you're just covering an existing dock. That's up to you, and then, if somebody wants to put in a dock, that's easier, actually, because then they can go through like the permit, they're gonna go through that process.
But those are temporary docks and they're taking them out every year.
The ones that I deal with, the
Yeah.
ones that yours are the ones that are gonna
Be
be,
permanent.
there's pylons, there's steel, there's bolts, there's DEP permits, there's all of that, so. But, you have to figure out how you wanna handle, if you want to back permit existing permanent docks that are currently in the water, have been there for years. I know, it's,
No, I'm saying, I'm chuckling, you're saying permanent docks, go up and down. Permanent's pier. We need definitions, we need to give you something to put your foot down and say, this is allowed, this is not. How many docks are you seeing that are 4 feet wide and on floats?
there are, I couldn't even put a number to that. Yeah, not all of permanent, temporary docks don't have to be on floats. They can
No, what I'm saying is,
They just have to be removed. They can only be in the water for 7 months or whatever. That's the.
but a 4 foot wide float is a health, life, safety issue. Potential for turning over, when I used to build them and sell
Yeah, but temporary docks,
see
temporary
that?
docks, I'm fine, it's whether or not what you wanna do with the permanent, that's the ones that never come out of the water, that's where I'm hung up.
them. Yeah, that's,
Because I don't have authority with those.
that's
Right.
perfect. That's a DEP
Yeah.
permit.
Temporary, is actually done very smoothly. I think we've got a good handle on that.
Well, my vote is before 2005, you're fine, you're fine.
Okay.
We
That's
can
fine.
always move it back, we couldn't move it forward, so I'll agree with that.
Do the, like in the tax description of properties, does it list the docks? It does not. It does not, no. So that's too bad. Yeah, that would be good. Because I think would that be an issue for a homeowner when they go to sell? That shouldn't be an
Well-
issue, the grandfathered dock would still go with the property, right?
Personal property,
Okay,
no value, only value and use.
okay. Yeah.
So I say, it may really appeal to you that there's a dock. But you could most likely get another one or get a permit for a dock. There wasn't.
Right, if they wanted to change it, they would have to get, but it goes with the property, just like a non-conforming lot,
Right.
can remain. Right. Remain with the property as long as it doesn't change. Okay, thank you, that helps.
Oh, do we need a vote on that? Or that's just
She was asking our opinion, we give her
Kind of a
opinion.
workshop thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, and actually, does it have to be in the ordinance? Can we make a ruling like that? Without it being in the ordinance? Someone come back and say, well, it's not, the ordinance doesn't state that.
The ordinance doesn't address it anyway.
Yeah.
I think it's just.
It does say you have to have a permit.
It does, but it also says you have to have a permit for other things that are grandfathered because they were in before the zoning ordinance happened. So I think you're covered, in that you're okay with docks that were put in before the ordinance was started.
Right,
I don't think that has to be in there. So I think it's understood.
right.
quickly scanning on the main shoreline zoning handbook for shoreline owners. See if they offer any quick guidance. Published in October 1998.
And that's from the DP, right, the state.
Right. A number of things had to go, if it wasn't local, had to go through the state. I've not seen quickly anything regarding dogs.
I don't think you have one of those books, Tim.
The state shoreline zone.
Did I give you one of those?
Yeah, I've got one.
Oh, okay.
I think going back to 98, because before the town adopted, it fell under the state regulations. We didn't have shoreline zoning. If you wanted to build a new house, it would fall under the state.
Yeah. Yeah, like that 70 foot, we had that 75-foot setback, and that was, well, there was a variance that had already been approved on the property, because we didn't have enough road frontage, but the 75 feet, still, that was in place in 1987. So that, but that was state.
Chapter 1000 started in February 1990.
What is it, 1990?
1990 was it first adopted.
1990,
Chapter 1000.
chapter 1000, yeah, that's
Okay, you're on
the
a,
state. So in the shoreline, in the state section. And it's, in our
Oh, yeah,
shoreline
town
zone,
line.
we have the section of the state,
so there's
right?
justification, support.
It was adopted in February of 1990.
So is that agreeable to you? Something to hang your hat on.
Are you getting many calls for permanent dogs?
I thought about 4 or 5 is past so no, it's not many, but enough that
Yeah.
I knew I needed to find out what you guys wanted me to do.
Well, you
You
gotta
know,
figure-
because I can think of some of them back from, that were in the 50s. They're still, it's still out there.
A lot of them have been in for years and decades.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And I'm inclined to just say, yeah, those are grandfathered. I just wanted to know, so we want to do 1990?
That's first notation
That's what
in,
it says here, 1990.
Okay, I'm comfortable with that.
cool.
That works then.
All right. Any other things?
That's it.
Julie? Do we have permission to call a vote? Close?
No, you got plenty more minutes to do.
To the sign.
Just a minute.
Let me find my
I did all that
baseball.
work.
I'll wait for you.
And you still have to tell me how much time,
Yes.
not today.
Dealing with several really crazy appraisals. Like a 68 acre parcel of land on the waterfront. Which only has 200 feet. But then again, when we go back, we have 2 potential street side lots. For a nasty. All right. No updates we've done. Everyone read the minutes from meetings from February 2nd.
Sign each individual one.
Just Kelly signs
February
his.
5th.
Oh, okay.
That's just.
Everyone's
Oh, okay.
Any comments, concerns, nitpicks, changes?
Nicely done.
Good job.
I'll entertain a motion that we accept the minutes from February 5th.
So moved.
Do we have a second? We have 10 seconds. Any more discussion? All in favor?
Right.
Aye.
All opposed? Carried. Do we have read the minutes from February 19th, 2025 meeting?
Yes.
Any nitpicks, concerns, questions? I'll make a motion that we accept the minutes from February 19th. Do we have a second? Tim seconds. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Minutes accepted. Any update on Carlisle Brook Estates?
Not a word.
Nothing. Pond Committee is coming before us for their public hearing on March 19th. Wonderful. All right. Any comments? Did we want to add the availability for public comments at the opening of our meetings? No? Okay.
There's one note. I looked it up in the MMA thing.
Yep.
I flagged it. Public participation. Unless a meeting has been advertised as a public hearing, members of the general public may attend and listen, but have no statutory right to ask questions or offer comments under the Freedom of Access Act. If the board advertises a meeting as a public hearing, the general public must be given a right to speak. This means residents and non-residents, taxpayers and non-taxpayers.
Okay. Thank you. I appreciate that.
That, it's general, it's in chapter 2 of the MMA thing. They have the right to ask questions and stuff during the public hearing. Mostly, from what I read in that, is you want to hear from the applicant during their time. You don't want people talking over them or whatever, when you're just trying to get the information on what they're proposing. The public hearing is the time to get everybody else's opinion.
And we're usually generally very liberal when something's happening to allow the public to speak, because we don't want to be tyrannical and go, shut up, you can't talk.
But it's gotta be done politely. They need to get your attention, Mr. Chair,
Mhm.
and be acknowledged during the mic.
Yep.
And they have to stay on topic. It's not an attack.
If I remember right too, I think we're supposed to take a vote as to whether we allow someone to have input. I don't think we've done that usually, but I don't know, I've seen, just thought I remember reading that and from one of the
It is
information
all-
for those meetings, the MMA meetings about planning board.
That gives us the ability to stop what could potentially be a loss of
A
control.
public hearing, it's not a public hearing, right?
Yeah. And
Right.
people going back and forth and arguing, debating.
Yeah,
That's it. Let's get back to the agenda at hand. All right.
okay.
Thank you for finding that answer.
Move that we adjourn.
Have a motion to adjourn. I'll second that motion. Do we have any discussion? All in favor of adjourning?
Aye.
Closed, 7:09.
I gotta say, those chairs are a lot more comfortable than the old ones.
Oh, God. We had such a mismatch of chairs, and you never knew which one you were gonna get, because they got bounced around by whoever was sitting there before.